This is the basic wreath bow. We're going to cut 16-inch tails. The number of loops that we're going to do are 3 at 6 inches, 3 at 5 inches, 2 at 4 inches, 1 at 3 inches, and a 2-inch center loop. Let's get started. Okay, our first ribbon we're going to use is a 2.5-inch ribbon, and we're going to measure our 16 inches. I have 10 inches on the right, and I'm going to go over to 6 inches on the left. We're going to take that, put it between the center dowels. The ribbon that is attached to my roll, we will twist 1/2 twist, straighten out our ribbon tails. Then we're going to pull out enough ribbon so that it's easy to work with. We're going to bring it back. We're not going to ever crease our fold over point on our ribbon. We want to make sure that our loops stay nice and fluffed. We're going to give it 1/2 twist. We're going to put our ribbon attached to the skein. We're going to fold that back over to 6 inches. We're going to give it another 1/2 twist. There's 2 loops, 1 on each side. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to repeat the process until we have our 3 loops on each side. Now you can measure each loop individually by moving your loops out of the way, or you can use the first 2 loops that you put on each side to measure with. I'm going to go ahead and position my loops. The nice thing about the E-ZBOWZ Design Pro is that you can pull your bow off the ribbon board, and it's totally formed. On your ends, you can decide whether you want to clip them at an angle or whether or not you want to dovetail them. They're 2 different looks. We're going to fold it in half. We're going to cut it on the fold side at an angle. There we have our dovetail. Let's bring our bow maker back toward us, and we're going to go with our next ribbon. I'm going to use a 1.5-inch ribbon here. We are going to measure our tails. Now I like to, on my tails, shorten them with every different ribbon that I put in by about 1 inch. I'm going to put my 3 loops in at 5 inches. So I'm going to move that loop out of the way to measure my first loop on each side, and thereafter I will just use the loops that I have put in for measurement. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 loops in. There we go. Whatever we do on one side, we want to do on the other side. So I'm going to position my loops. Notice how nice and fluffed they're staying at this point. I'm going to measure it off. I'm just going to use my existing loop on the other side, or tail on the other side. The next ribbon that I'm going to use is just a plain 1.5-inch denim, and I'm going to put 2 loops in on each side for this one. And these are going to be at 4 inches. We're following our recipe. Move your tails out of the way so that you can measure. The numbers on the bow maker are nice and large. Should be easy to see. Okay, and our last loop at 4 inches is in. So now I'm going to take the time to fluff my loops. Bring my tail straight down. There we go. Trim off my tail. Now we're going to go back to our small black and red plaid that we used for 3, and we're going to just make 1 on each side at 3 inches. So I'm going to pull my loops to the side so that I can measure my 3 inches. There we go. Pull them aside over here. It's about 3 inches. Now I've got my 1 loop in on each side at 3 inches. We'll trim that. Now I'm going to put a center loop in. So I'm going to use a contrast and this is going to be at 2 inches. So I'm just going to eyeball this one. I know that I need to be about 1 inch shorter than my 3 inches. So I've eyeballed that. Now we're going to pull our bow maker off, and at this point I'm going to show you the different types of products that you can use to tie your bow off. You can use wire. We like to use a 26 gauge wire. So it comes on a paddle like this, or you can buy packages of it at pre-cut lengths like this. You can also use just a pipe cleaner, or you can use a zip tie. So what you want to do, you can bring this underneath of all of your loops, snug it up right next to the center dowels, bring it up and in between your dowels. See how I crossed that over there? Now I'm going to just lift everything up gently. I'm going to put my thumb as close to the center as I can get it. I'm going to have my pointer finger on one side, my middle finger on the other side. I'm going to squeeze like this. I'm going to hang on to those so that they can be sure and be right in the center. I'm going to pull everything to the back. I'm going to continue to squeeze. Take the time to make sure that my bow is fluffed where I want it. From that point, we are just going to twist the bow to get it as tight as we can. This is what it looks like when you first take it off the bow maker. So we're going to do just a tiny bit of fluffing here. We're going to bring all of our ribbon tails down. So we're just going to pull on those right straight down. I like to run my fingers along my ribbons. It sets them up for that really nice curl. Just pull them straight down. I want to make sure that all of my loops on both sides are where I want them at this point. Again, we're just filling spaces. Now we have that center loop. We're going to take our thumb and our pointer finger. We're going to go right next to where that pipe cleaner is. We're going to give it a hard twist to turn the tail going the right direction. We're going to come back and spread out our center loop. This is our basic wreath bow.